Hey folks, welcome back to session 2 of InterVision Directed Class. You did really well yesterday. I was thrilled with the results. And there's not going to be much of a review today because I got so much I've got to get out of the road. And I'm thinking, with looking over your results last night, that I can skip a couple of exercises that you guys have so far blown out of the water that we don't need them. So it puts us a little bit ahead on schedule, which is great. Now, I want to start out with, of course, the prayer walk. You know how it's done. Pouring yourself into it, empowering your prayer on the way to Grandfather's Camp area, delivering that prayer from the core of your very soul, and go from there. Pay attention to what returns. I'm only going to give you 10 minutes for this, but that one thing is really uplifted the classes in a grand way. So let's do it. 10 minutes. Pour your heart out. Hey, folks, welcome back. We had a great session yesterday, and I'm just thrilled about it. I'll tell you one thing, this class really kicked the crap out of me. I didn't expect it to be so intense, but your feedback was absolutely amazing. I'm thrilled with it. And your questions, your answers are way up there. Now, I want to flip this over to another side of the coin. Yesterday, we focused on interpretation and we focused on formulating a question where it has that intensity of being distilled down to what is needed. And in this first exercise, simply called the search for answers, and I want you to take any question that I didn't get to yesterday that still has not revealed an answer to, and I want you to take that and research the hell out of it. Now, what's going to happen? You're going to start off with an empowered prayer with that unanswered or partially answered questions, and then you're going to envision yourself taking a walk, going in and out of the fusion and all the other things that go with it. And what's interesting is that when you do this, you're going to get a lot more than you're going to get from me or grandfather or the elder lineage. And it's very unique in many different ways that we're able to tap into the great wisdom that is housed in everything that we do. So what's going to happen, I'm going to give you about, this is a longer one because it revolves around your questions. And to start with, I would like you to start that empowered prayer. Along with it, I would like you to review what you learned yesterday as you're wandering about grandfather's camp. And just like you did yesterday. And unfortunately, it hasn't been explored that much, so it lays itself to bear in so many ways. And you're armed with a lot more information. And what you're looking for is the intensity of the teaching and how far it went. So again, 20 minutes to do it with a 5-minute write back. Let's do it, gang. Hey, gang, welcome back. Now, your search for answers is good. When you don't have, me or grandfather, and remember what I said about me, that I'm like you, I'm a student. I'm constantly learning. So there's areas that I'm still trying to brush up on, to embrace and understand before I pass it down to you. And the your feedback is showing a lot of insight, and I'd say that 90% of it has to do with having to refund money because it didn't work out. And anyway, there's one in here. Give me a minute. Yeah, one of the things you want to do is look for metaphors, symbols, designs, and stuff like that, because they usually open huge doorways and they bear a lot of research. Um, you want to take things and link them, goes deeper and deeper and deeper. As you begin to get answers from the search for answers, don't take the first one at face value and quit. See if you can build upon that, because that's a door that opens, and we want to make sure that you cover all the bases, because you don't want to come away with a half story. And these questions, especially in the latter days here, are so damn important for your own spiritual growth, but also for the saving of the earth and even the world. But anyway, you did really well on this.
You want to take a break for a minute?
No, I'm trying to figure out where to go next. By the way, there was a question that came up yesterday about the dark side. Again, rebound that off your inner vision. Go back to that empowered prayer of warning. If you feel that there's something not quite right with the answer, it could be darkness that is trying to intervene and giving you false information. And you want to squelch that in the bud, because if you let it go, it's going to come up to bite you in the ass later on. And you want to make sure that you're covering all the bases. I will go through the answers to questions 3 or 4 or 5 times until I know the slate is cleared, and we can move on from there, so to speak. Now, what I would like to do now is talk about the world of spirit, not the spiritual world, but the world of spirit. Remember, spiritual is everything outside the flesh. In fact, it includes the flesh. But your spiritual encounters are so important. And you have the ability to have this meeting with your spirits, whether it be one or several. If it's several, it's in council meeting, and use them to clarify what you've thus far been given. And that's so very damn important, that you exhaust them and their feedback. The hell was that?
Motorcycle.
Anyway, I want to move into an exercise dealing with the spirit world, but I do not want you to go to your sacred area and through the great veil or anything like that. I want you to bring the spirits to you in real time. And basically, how this is going to work is that you're going to take a question that you have, or several, and I want you to rebound them to a point where you hit into the spirit. And you'll know, because everything will change for the better. And then you're going to sit down and have counsel with them. And don't be afraid with the spirit world that you ask a multifaceted group of questions that seem to be related but may be unrelated. And we make sure that the conversations you have are very poignant, very powerful. Think out the answers. 1 minute, gang. I just want to make sure I've covered the bases. All right, with the spirit world, the other thing you have to do is when you get with metaphor, symbol, and things like that, what you want to do is to distill it down to what that symbol means to you and how you can rise above it and get the essence of that spiritual communication. There's no need to go back to, the old tried and true method where you go into your sacred area and all that. That's cumbersome. You want this immediate. You want to be able to be out walking, doing whatever, and all of a sudden you feel a spiritual intervention. That's when you jump on it. Don't waste the time going to your sacred area. Most of you are beyond that now, and we can deal with spirits in real time. Now, what I want you to do here is taking that question or another question and distilling it down to what you think is the bare essence of that question, what you need to know. And consider that the spirits are very much like us. They have their own opinion coming from their own background. So you take it and rebound it off your inner vision and see where it goes from there. So let's get a question. There's a number of ways of doing this. I'd like to go back to grandfather's camp area and have you wander randomly. Don't plan it out. And start gleaning information in your wanderings. Don't be surprised if you're taken to places you haven't been to in years, some of you. It's not backstepping, it's clarification. So the first 5 minutes of this exercise, I want you to touch base with the spirit world and carry that question with you. And then sit down like you're sitting down with an old friend and having a discussion. And make sure, like with any discussion, you put out your question, but give it time to formulate an answer. And then take that answer, and if you don't understand it, go back to the spirit and say, look, I understand X, Y, and Z, but not A and B. So that way there's a definite clarification. All right, remember, you're going to wander the primitive camp again. Rather be led than to decide, and have that burning question inside of you. I'm going to give you 25 minutes for this with a 5-minute write back. Hey, folks, welcome back. As I said, what I'm trying to do here is when there's nobody around to answer your questions, like in the physical realm, you've got to understand that you have a whole repository of knowledge sitting out there in the form of spirit guides and teachers, interpreters, that kind of thing. And all we have to do is get to that in a pure way. And in doing so, the two I don't want to go there yet. Anyway, speaking to one spirit, remember that you're going to get one opinion, and their opinion is theirs. And they have the same frailties, they have the same struggles that you have, where their learning is a little farther up the chain. I hope that I can get you today to where that original spirit showed itself. And then the journey off as to bring you to a place where you can interpret, or he can interpret, your dreams. And again, go to that internal barometer. If you find that the information he's giving you is a little off or doesn't sit right, check it out with the full-blown elements of it. But as for me, I speak also for Rick. There's not a sign of rabbit anything. And that brings me to, again, the metaphors: rabbits, squirrels, designs, all these bear interpretation. And it's best to do it while the conversation is taking place with the spirit world. Now, a better way to go about this is to have a council meeting with the spirits. What I want you to do in this exercise is rather simple. You're going to empower a prayer of something you need to learn, not want, need. And these needs can be spread out all over the map. But with council, you have to give each member time to speak. In fact, it's good to imagine a talking stick where when one of the elder lineage is done, they hand that stick to the next in line or the next in the circle, and keep going and going and going until you come out of that meditation and you're ready to pull it all together, so to speak, with part flesh, but also clinging on to the spirit. Now, I'm going to ask you to take a difficult question, one that might be multiple parts. I want you to go down to your spiritual sit area. The flesh can sit any place, but go through that and allow the council to build up around you in a big way. So your feedback from these council meetings are going to be very productive. So go in with a burning question for which you have no answers. Don't be surprised on your way in if you get partial answers, but you have to go through it to build the whole foundation and everything of the spirit world and what they're trying to convey to you. I'm going to give you 25 minutes to do this with a 5-minute write back. Shuna. Hey, gang, welcome back. You know, when you go into a spiritual encounter to try to answer questions, consider that everybody has their own medicine power, their own unique place in the spirit world. And you shouldn't toss that out. You should look at what they have to say and rebound it off your inner vision, because most often it is right. And like a good friend trying to point out things where you've gone wrong, you're going to find out that it is a far-reaching type of a communication that you're going to be blessed with. The other thing is keep in mind that all these spirits, whether they're individual, whether they just live in the spirit world, or whether they live also in the flesh, they have some great insights because of their own uniqueness, their own energy, and knowledge from what they've, gotten through the years. With counsel, you're going to notice a mix between the physical counsel, in other words, that have a physical counterpart in our flesh reality, and the spiritual counsel, which has no footprint or foothold in that personality. And always use your inner vision, because the dark side can get in and muck up the work, so to speak, by taking sentences out of context, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, hold on. I want to do this one here. It's simply called A Journey into the Unknown. And basically, it's going to start out with kind of like the wander through grandfather's camp area. Not just his camp area, the primitive camp. And what you're looking for is not the simplistic questions and answers. You're looking for something more complex. And what I'm going to do is give you that complex nature. Basically, the question that you're going to ask is simply, what am I missing? What are the greater teachings that I'm overlooking? How am I overlooking them? That kind of thing. You don't want to get deep into the nitty-gritty right now, because you'll disturb a whole mess of moviegoers and television watchers at home. But you want to really pay attention to every facet of these communications, the body English, the symbology, the pauses, and everything else that this person is trying to convey to you. Now, at no time does that mean that that person is more powerful than you are. Simply means that they've been beat up a few times. And we want to embrace that through the hurt and everything else that goes with it. All right, what I need you to do is get to a space where you're not distracted. That's why I prefer the sacred area in your medicine place. And you're going to just open your heart, coming up with the question, what is it that I need? Why am I not seeing it? I'm going to give you 20 minutes for this with a 5-minute right back. Hey, folks, welcome back. When you rebound this between the two entities, the individual spirit and the group of spirits, though it is not always that the group is going to come up with better answers than the individual, it depends on the individual's experience. And a lot of times you're going to be able to see right through that and be able to be kind. Remember, these folks have personalities and stuff. You want to be kind and, nod your head or whatever that you're getting what they're saying. There could be fragments of truth in what they're saying. The other thing, since we're on, this, when you deal with animals, symbols, things like that, you ask the same thing. What does this mean to me? What emotion does this evoke? What is my apprehension all about? Because some of them look so menacing, yet their apprehension is a low time ebb, but still they have much to contribute. Hold on a second, just let me read my notes. Yeah, whatever you do, also don't ignore them, even though, you might be down there with a friend that is taking the same kind of feedback, but distill it apart, because a couple of word changes can change the whole meaning. What I want you to do next is to hunt down a symbol. Now, I'm going to give you the latitude. You can either do it in grandfather's camp area, the whole area back there, because there is a number of symbols carved in trees and stuff like that, even though a lot of them are in the process of dying and losing the carving. And the other thing is I'd like you to see if you can dig those a little deeper than just the symbol. Why is a symbol coming to me? What is it held in that symbol that is awakening me, enlightening me? I'm going to give you 20 minutes to do this with a 5-minute write back. Hey, folks, welcome back. Your feedback is good, though some of you could have gone deeper into the meaning of that symbology and stuff like that. You can almost see that it's leaving off someplace that needs to be more research. And you know how to do that research now. I would suggest as homework that you, for those of you who feel that there was not a completion in the communication, that you take it a bit further in your time off when there's fewer distractions. Anyway, group, gang, folks, I'm going to have to take off about an hour and 45 minutes early. Remember, I said we got to go over tonight. I've got a brutal headache that I'm afraid is going to go into a cluster and an upset stomach. It's just I've been pushing myself for the last week and 2 days, and it's finally caught up with me. So you'll have that as a download a little later on in the week. But until then, I want you to review your notes, because some of you are missing some key points and issues that can be used to further identify and interpret the symbology that you got. Sorry, folks. Good night.